Good morning everyone, it is I, Sam, and we're here for another Brony UK video. I'm going to be covering Brony hate. It might be a bit of a strong subject, but I just thought to myself, I really want to cover that subject. So this isn't really going to be about MLP in the sense, it's going to be about all the hate for the Bronies, all the hate for the Brony fan groups, and even hate for the MLP show itself. Because even though the show is now into its 8th season and has been running solidly now for 8 years and has a very strong fan base, a lot of people out there still judge the Brony fan base, still think that, you know, all the Bronies out there are basically a group of paedophiles and hate mongers and weird people, and you know they don't recognise the love of the group and the fact that it's a group of people who just share a common interest in a show that they like. And it's like any other fan base that I know of, you know, 99% of fan bases, they're really nice people and they're very approachable, and you know, it's no different from the Transformers fan base, you know, no different at all. I want to briefly talk about some of the stuff I found in regards to hate for the MLP. Now, there's some really interesting stuff on change.org, which is this website where people set up petitions and things to try and get things changed. I've no idea if any amounts to anything, though interestingly there are some petitions on here that have gone through to basically try and get background characters put into the MLP show, which has happened. I mean, original characters put into the MLP show, and there are petitions on change.org for it, so it's entirely possible that Hasbro have listened to that. But what I'm going to talk about is a few things on here and a few other bits and pieces in regards to that. So, the first thing I want to talk about is a petition that has been closed. It only had 62 supporters, and obviously generally didn't go anywhere. I mean, on a side note here, no, Hasbro aren't going to cancel Friendship is Magic when it's their biggest grossing show. They're making more money off that than they're making off their current Transformers series, and that's saying something. So, this particular thing, this petition was referred to as "Cancel the series, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic to end the Brony fandom." So basically, said person wants to end the Brony fan base by ending the show. Even if Friendship is Magic finished at season 8, which it isn't, we all know there's going to be at least 2 more seasons, the fan base wouldn't just stop, the fan base would still exist. So seriously, the show ending would not cancel a Brony fan base. So this is a bit of a long one, but this is what the opening thing says regarding the petition. And just to point out, said person clearly has hatred for the fan base in general, not really the show. So this is what it states. The cartoon series develops a very large, strange and terrible following. Bronies, as they like to call themselves, claim that they like the cartoon My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, aka MLP or MLP Fin. All innocent fun. Maybe for some it is, but not many. Having spent enough time on the internet and encountering many Bronies, I've learned they're a very hostile group, verbally attacking and harassing anybody who doesn't agree with them. I've also learned that there are many people on the internet who hate Bronies for the way they act. I honestly can't blame them, since there is so much info to this. I have to put this in a few sections. So basically, this person's gone around the internet and has decided that after a few bits and pieces, he's decided that the Brony fan base is a hostile group, and he verbally attack and harass anybody who doesn't agree with them. That, not to my knowledge, I don't think there's ever been an issue where somewhat a Brony's ended up disagreeing with someone. And let's be honest, if a Brony disagrees with someone over something, it's not because they're a Brony. It might well be just because, you know, it might be have a subject that has nothing to do with MLP. But anyway, continue. Right. So, to the parents. For the love of God, do not let your children search for My Little Pony on the internet. These Bronies twist the cartoon in ways to suit themselves and their disturbing desires, such as making violent or pornographic pictures of videos featuring the characters, sometimes even including the children characters. some of which can easily be found on YouTube or even image searches. The searches may vary from place to place, but I can assure you violent and pornographic content that children shouldn't see will be found, including at the bottom of this position are several links of proof. One to a disturbingly violent MLP video. I strongly suggest you do not have your children in the room when you proceed to watch these links. I happen to know which one that is. That's like the really weird video where Spike's a stoner, Discord turns into a giant version of himself and crushes the world, you know, Fluttershy's a psychopath, you know, it's all basically a really weird video. But again, that's just another side to the fan base. And to point out, you're not going to find that unless you go looking for it. If you type My Little Pony into Google right now or into YouTube, all you're going to get is innocent stuff. You're just going to get like standard My Little Pony stuff. You're not going to get anything that isn't child appropriate. You're only going to find that kind of stuff if you look for it. So, the next statement states, recent drama within the Brony community, a fan-made character made by Bronies was recently added to the cartoon, which in itself was surprising enough. But when the character didn't live up to their expectations, the Brony community collectively raged at the makers of the cartoon and even sent death threats to them. One case in particular is an online user and artist who goes by the name Yamino, who quite simply stated her opinion on the character. It was only slightly negative, so she felt as if the character stereotypes the mentally disabled or made fun of them. I think they might be talking about Derpy, who isn't a fan character at all. She's been in it since like season 1. The Bronies saw this and reacted with a force which I've never seen on the internet before. They sent hundreds, maybe even thousands of hate messages, including death threats to Yamina over this. Over having a slightly negative opinion of the character. Yes, you read that right. They flipped out over the character not being what they wanted. And then they did the same as someone having a negative opinion to the exact same character. Again, I've not heard of anything about anyone receiving death threats or Bronies kicking off about something they're not happy in a really, really negative way. Again, if that is happening, it's probably a very, very small amount of people that don't represent the over-large community that is the Brony fanbase. So the next part goes on to state, general Brony attitude. On the very surface, they can be nice and friendly, especially in public. Online, they will be careful about what they say and how they act around parents. Try to explain that they only like the cartoon in sweet, harmless fun. Don't you believe them for a second. On top of the violent and pornographic mentioned earlier, when nearly anyone else on the internet, they will constantly try to convert people into being Bronies. They will harass anyone who doesn't instantly like MLP, and they'll do the same to anyone who doesn't agree with them. I personally have been harassed by them to the point of permanently leaving multiple websites because it's just become too much to deal with. Sometimes, all it takes is saying, I don't like My Little Pony. Literally, they even hate and harass people who like the older generation of the cartoon. This Brony following grew out of 4chan and still has very strong connections there. Even people who make the cartoon visit this site. Not to mention there is a porn site on the internet with 124 pages of My Little Pony porn. Each page has a maximum of 60 images. This is approximately 7,440 pornographic images of a cartoon made for children. This is exactly what the Brony fanbase is about. The website isn't hard to find either. There's no restrictions on who can enter. There is never a page telling minors to leave the website. If you click the wrong link to this site, you won't even know it's a porn site until you start seeing pictures. Right, well, if you're working out that there's over 7,000 images on this one site, that does not represent the entire Brony community. And just to point out, no matter what the community is, hell, there's even pornography in the Transformers community, from Transformers. Stuff like that will always exist in fan bases. That's just the darker, quirky side of it, but it doesn't represent 99% of the fan base. So seriously, don't make fuss over a small majority. Conclusion. They are by far the worst things that ever happened to the internet. Really? I can think of far worse things that have happened on the internet. Don't get me wrong, there are some good ones, perhaps many, but the majority of the fan base is made up of many, many terrible people, including paedophiles and people who like bestiality. The only way to end this My Little Pony fad is to get the cartoon My Little Pony and Friendship is Magic cancelled and taken off the air. How such disturbing behaviour has gone under the radar truly baffles me. Please sign the petition and spread the word. I strongly suggest people sign this petition anonymously to prevent harassment, spam and death threats from Bronies. You see, right, you're basically saying that the entire show should be cancelled on the grounds of a small fraction of the fan base. There are many great fans out there. There are many amazing musicians that make amazing music based off the show. There are many amazing people doing comics. There are many amazing people doing 3D animations on YouTube. The list is endless. There are people whose lives has been changed for the better because of My Little Pony. There are children out there who have been suffering from illnesses, and I'm talking about horrible, life-changing illnesses, and they have had some of the My Little Pony voice actors visit them. I mean, seriously, the show has done so much good, and the fan base has done so much good. It is an amazing fan base, and it is there for its fans, it is there for its group. You're talking about small majority of people, like in any fan base, you are going to get a small minority who come across as bad, and that's in any fan base. So you can't calling for the MLP shows to be cancelled on the basis of a small majority within a fan base is just stupid. Anyway, this petition only had 62 supporters, so you know it never went anywhere. So the next one, there's quite a few of these actually, where it states that the My Little Pony show is offensive. And a lot of them basically state the following. My problem with the show and resulting toys of My Little Pony. There are two characters, Snails and Derpy, who are named because they are stupid. One character even has crossed eyes and says a lot. This is completely offensive to people diagnosed with autism, ADHD, Down syndrome, etc. Please make these characters positive examples, thank you. So you're basically stating that because Derpy is cross-eyed, and comes across as a bit of a slow character, that she's stupid and that she's an offensive character. She's not an offensive character. She's actually one of the most loved characters in the show. People love Derpy. She's awesome. I'd love Derpy to come into the real world so I could give her a hug. You know? She's absolutely a brilliant character. I mean, actually, one of the people actually saying this is a bad thing states that one person states here that they have Asperger's syndrome, and Derpy is one of my favourite characters. Someone else states, watch episode 100 and you'll see that although Derpy is a little clumsy, she is actually very intelligent. So again, somebody decides to complain about one character in the show and stated that they should be rechanged into positive example because their characters are offensive. Then there's a ridiculous petition stating that My Little Pony needs to be shut down because it's a hate symbol. Apparently, My Little Pony has been used in white supremacist, Islamophobia, anti-immigration, pro-Trump supporters, pro-Hitler supporters, and should be declared as a hate symbol. The vast majority of adult fans of My Little Pony show strong hatred, including the harassment and death threats towards anyone who dislikes their fanbase. In addition, the majority of Bronies are alt-right, Trump-supporting neo-Nazis. Bronies claim to support love and tolerance, but their disgusting, hateful actions show otherwise. By officially declaring My Little Pony as a hate symbol, we can bring attention to and ultimately end the problem with Bronies and the alt-right. Otherwise, his hateful actions by Bronies will continue with no repercussions. This had about 84 supporters. Seriously, a hate symbol? Pro-Trump? The vast majority of Bronies hate Donald Trump, and a lot of the voice actors hate him as well. How the hell is it a hate symbol? By rights, we could probably create world peace with My Little Pony. You know, seriously, it is not a hate symbol. I mean, again, some of these petitions are just ridiculous. There's another weird one that's popped up recently as well. It's basically just claiming that, as we all know, in a recent episode, Spike finally got his wings. He's now got his wings, he can now fly. And someone's stating this is horrible, it's an outrage. The show just keeps getting worse and worse and more out of character. We have to sort this out. We need to get rid of Spike's wings. Why put a petition out to get rid of his wings? It's character development. After 8 seasons, it's great to see Spike finally developing more. I mean, we've already had 2 seasons where we've got to see a bit more of him, and we get to see what he gets up to when Twilight and the main sticks are off on an adventure. It's great that he's becoming more developed as a character. In my opinion, it's about time he got his wings. He's a dragon. Dragons fly. You know, he needs to evolve as a character, and finally getting his wings means that he's evolving as a character. You know, I mean, I don't see how it's out of character for him at all. His character hasn't changed. All that's happened is he can now fly. That doesn't change his overall personality or character in a big way. Seriously, it's a stupid thing to complain about. There's another one here, again, trying to declare the Bronies as a hate group. It's just ridiculous. There's actually a petition up that basically it seems to be a petition to try and prevent G5 from happening. I mean, sorry guys, but G5 will happen anyway. There'll be a Generation 5 of MLP. It will happen. So that'll happen. You know, there's not a lot I can say on that other than G5 will happen. That on Change.org is just a small taste of the hatred for the Brony fan group. I mean, it's like any fan group. There will always be haters. It makes no sense. I mean, there is actually a forum somewhere which basically claims that Bronies are all paedophiles and rapists and all sorts of things. I mean, I could find it, but I could talk forever. Just on subject, as I said, those on Change.org that I briefly talked about are on there, but you can find countless references on the internet over people stating the same thing, that, you know, oh, the Brony fanbase is toxic, it's evil, all the members of the Brony fanbase are paedophiles, and should, you know, the fanbase should be shut down. It's not a toxic fanbase. I mean, you might get the odd oddball in a fanbase, as any fanbase, and yeah, you get a bit of a darker side when people do, you know, certain types of artwork and certain types of fan fiction, but that's normal. There's tons of stuff like that for Pokemon. A Pokemon's been around for what, 25 years? And that's got tons and tons of dark, weird stuff out there on the internet. But you don't see people asking for the Pokemon fanbase to be shut down. The problem it stems from, largely, is a lot of people see a fanbase, which is, the Brony fanbase itself is predominantly, roughly, 85% male, aging about late teens through to early 30s, roughly. I mean, I'm 29. I mean, I've been a Brony. I mean, obviously there's a video on this channel where I talk about how I became a Brony, but if you want to watch that. But I've been a Brony for probably about 5 years. About 5-ish years, because I kind of got into the franchise just after Season 3 finished airing. So I've been a member of the Brony fanbase now for roughly 5 or 6 years. But in that time, I've never come across any toxic stuff. I've never come across any hate or spite or any kind of arsehole Bronies. I've never come across that. You know, I've only come across people who are fans of a really good kids show, who love it for the message, love it for the simplicity, love it for the characters, love it for the music. As I said, there are people out there making amazing music. There are people out there making amazing fan fictions. People out there making amazing fan comics. People even making amazing fan animations. It is not a toxic fan base. It is an amazing fan base full of love and acceptance and a general sense of family. Now, people who put up these kind of petitions might say, well, look, there's a Brony, there's a fan of the show getting angry and defending it and having a go. Well, I am defending the show, and I am defending the Brony fan base, because that's what you do. You defend something you like, and you defend something you're a part of. It's no different from, you know, a Star Trek fan defending a show, or a Star Wars fan defending the show. It's no different. That form of community will always be there. But as I said, you know, unfortunately, the Brony fanbase will always receive hate. And it's just going to be, unfortunately, part of that concept. It's always going to be there. Yeah, it's terrible. What's this one? I mean, there's a hell of a lot of stuff you could find where people seem to be asking whether or not, you know, is it generally. I mean, I just typed in ban Bronies and there's like, I've literally come across 2 threads already that seem to be rather anti-Brony. So someone here is basically crying for all Bronies to be banned. I mean, I could go on about this for other people, I really could. I mean, there's a weird thing here stating that, wow. But, you know, it turns out at one point there was some kind of, someone once put up a series of videos online basically threatening to walk out and kill Bronies. Even stating he was going to go to a premiere of the My Little Pony film and commit terrorist acts and target Bronies. Well, it looks like his YouTube channel was shut down, his DeviantArt page was shut down, so, wow, that's pretty tough, actually. I could go on about it forever, but I, you know, time and all. So, in retrospect, as I said, unfortunately, there are loads and loads of anti-Bronies out there, which you'll always get. Any haters of any fan group, there'll always be haters. But, in the defence, the Brony fan base, I've never had any problems in the last 5 years. Personally, I think they're amazing people, very creative people, and all the hate leads to nothing. So, thanks very much for watching. It's been a ramble, but thanks anyway. But peace out, guys. Thanks for watching Bronies UK.